Wow, what a doozy we had in ATL last night. 29 runs. 29! Everybody made their tweets about, looks like a football score. Well, it did. 29-9, a blowout of the Miami Dolphins. Shocking dominance, really. I didn't think Atlanta's defense would play that well. Adam Duvall had 3 home runs again. Unbelievable. He just had 3 home runs a week ago at Fenway Park. This guy is raking. He's got 13 home runs on the year now. It's stupid. It's stupid. But congratulations. The Braves look like a lot of fun when they're on all cylinders. Acuna, Freeman, Duvall. Ozzie Albies is back. We'll talk about some players that have returned. Very exciting to have him back on the baseball diamond. And the Brewers said, wait, what about me, boys? They scored 19 runs by themselves, shutting out the Tigers 19-0. And interestingly enough, Corbin Burnes has turned into an elite starting pitcher. We're definitely going to talk about that because I love what I'm seeing from Burnes. He's putting it all together. It's really hard to believe that he had an 8.82 ERA last year. Crazy. Go to rotofanatic.com because you're there now. You're watching this video. Stay there and then click on Paul Mamino's new GPS report. That's right. He's talking about the guy I just mentioned, Corbin Burnes. Why his pitch location and his pitch mix adjustments have allowed him to become the pitcher you're seeing right now. Not giving up an earned run in his last 3 starts. Looking very, very elite right now. The breakout is upon us, and Paul Mamino is here to explain why that is happening. Plus, he has his weekly Stuff ERA metric leaderboard. Gives you the best pitchers according to his very own Stuff ERA metric that he created on his own. It's great stuff. Informative, useful, good dude. What else do you need to know? Read the GPS report. All right, let's start the show. We're going to talk about closers. We're going to talk about good times, bad times. I know I've had my share, but you're about to have a good one right now.
Take it easy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
I know that you will.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
The dude abides. I don't know about you, but I take comfort in that.
You know what doesn't bring a lot of comfort to pitchers? That would be Atlanta Brave hitters, because on Wednesday, the Braves were the dude. I mean, the whole team was the dude that abided.
Utah, give me 2.
Well, I got more than 2, Gary. I got a bunch of them. 7 home runs sounds like a lot, right? Well, the Braves said, hey, no problemo. Ronald Acuna crushed a bomb. Look at this box score. It's just filled with homers. Homers galore. And 3 of them belong to Mr. Duvall. Adam Duvall has had 2 3-home run games in the last 7 days. It's unbelievable. He did it at Fenway Park last week, and now here he is destroying Marlins pitching. Poor Jordan Yamamoto. He's actually not a bad pitcher at all. I feel bad for him. He had a bad night. Obviously, the Braves had a legendary night. This was a franchise record for most runs scored, and that goes back to the Boston Braves, the old school Braves, all the Braves. And if you look at this chart I'm going to show you right here, check this out. This is a list of all balls that made contact and were put into play in last night's game between the Marlins and the Braves. I organized it from the hardest hit balls to the least hardest hit ball. Exit velocities ranging from Ronald Acuna's 111-mile-per-hour blast in the 5th inning all the way on down. This is 25 different balls. This is not even the whole game. And we're still looking at 25 balls that have been hit at least 101 mph or higher. This is really unique. If you look at StatCast data on the reg, you would notice that by the time you got to the 25th ball put in play, based on exit velocity, it wouldn't even come close to being hit 101 miles per hour by then. This is a really rare and unique night in baseball.
Utah, give me 2.
Well, I got a small beef with this one, but I got to give man full credit. Jed Jerko hit 2 home runs yesterday in the 19-0 destruction of the Detroit Tigers. Breaks my heart. But that one right there, well, that was off of outfielder Travis Demerit. He is not a pitcher. And right here, you're going to notice why he's not a pitcher, because he'll be laughing about a home run. There it is. Look at Travis having a laugh. He's laughing because he knows it's not real. What was real, though, was the legendary performance by Corbin Burnes. 7 strong innings, 1 hit. He gave up a triple. That was the only hit he gave up in the entire game. Struck out 11. 11, so you know what that means.
Right across the board. 11,
Oh, I see.
11,
And most of
11,
the
and then
amps go up to 10.
Exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Oh, he's good to get the 11 in. We haven't had an 11 strikeout game since earlier in the week when Dinelson Lamet struck out 11 himself. So Corbin Burnes joins that group, and he's also becoming a breakout candidate. He is dominating over the last 3 appearances with 28 strikeouts, no earned runs.
11! 11!
But that's not what I'm gonna do.
On the base paths Wednesday, we had some players leave, players behind. We always do. It's a never-ending saga with this left-on base mess. Rio Ruiz of the Orioles left 7 of his teammates on base, and they could have used that assistance because they were not able to pull off the victory Wednesday. Albert Pujols is very old. It should be expected that he would leave players on base. Jed Jerko hit 2 home runs, but he still left 5 behind. And Oscar Mercado, he's just been back recently, but he's still struggling to cash in with runners in scoring position. It seems like Atlanta's dominating the headlines in this show, but hey, they are. And we had great news with Ozzie Albies coming back, hitting a home run to boot. It's so good to have him back on the field. He missed a lot of time with that wrist injury, and we were waiting and waiting and waiting for him to come back, but there was delay after delay after delay. Fortunately, after much delay, he's back on the field, and you can count on Ozzie Albies to help carry you to a fantasy championship as we wrap up September. The return of the Mac continues. Alex Bregman is back on the scene. You may not love him like you love Ozzie Albies, but Alex Bregman is a very good player, and the production he provides is invaluable. Unfortunately, he did not start on Wednesday, so I think they're bringing him along slowly. Here he is in defensive effort, tagging out Mr. Piscotty. They're worried about his hamstring, so they're going to be cautious, but he is healthy and active, so hopefully he'll be in the starting lineup going forward. There's more encouraging news about the return of the Mac. Ken Giles is definitely the Mac daddy when it comes to closing in Toronto. This elbow has been a constant source of frustration for him. But if everything holds, he will be back this weekend. Justin Turner plans to be back very soon, maybe before this weekend, as he comes back from the hamstring injury. Tommy Pham could be back next week. He's going to be doing some hitting at the alternate site at the University of San Diego. And Jose Ramirez is dealing with a thumb issue. An MRI revealed no structural damage, though, just bruising. So hopefully he can return to the lineup in the next day or so, as long as he can handle the pain.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
That's right. Coffee's for closers only. You should know this by now, son. Or madam, or young lady, or whoever you are watching this. Coffee's for closers, and right now, Trevor Rosenthal has grabbed the coffee from the barista, and he says, it's mine! San Diego has a closer. It's not Drew Pomerantz. Sorry. I know, we were all excited about Drew Pomerantz. He's been incredible this year. I mean, people are making a Cy Young case for him because he hasn't given up an earned run yet. I mean, let's calm down here. But Trevor Rosenthal's been outstanding. Every time he's been called upon, he's basically gotten the job done in Kansas City and now in San Diego. Getting the save last night, so kudos to him. We also have Blake Trinan swiping a save from Kenley Jansen last night. That's not going to be a regular thing. Jansen had been a little overworked, needed a night off, so Blake Trinan stepped in and got his first save of the season. Let's take a look at a couple other closers, the situation, and what's going on. And who deserves coffee? Because coffee's for closers, damn it. We had a few closers or would-be closers who blew the game for their teams. Although they didn't blow a save necessarily, they did take the loss. Hunter Harvey gave up a go-ahead home run to Pete Alonso in the Orioles' loss to the Mets. Hunter Harvey is the closer of the future for the Orioles, and I think that's safe to say. But right now, there's certainly no guarantee that he will get the job done. Ryan Presley has struggled on and off this season. Sometimes looks dominant, other times looks terrible. And last night he gave up the walk-off single to Ramon Laureano, which must have been sweet revenge for Laureano after being suspended due to the Astros brawl last month. And Edwin Diaz got his third save without issue against the Orioles. That's wonderful news. And Greg Holland got his third save of the season, beating the Cleveland Baseball Club. He looks to be the main guy right now for the closer spot because Scott Barlow pitched the 8th. Thursday slate looks like a lot of fun. We got Dylan Bundy. Dylan's on the mound. We got Jose Urquidy doing his second start after his first return over the weekend was, it was rough. He hadn't played all year. So I'm curious to see what he can do on Thursday. And, of course, which hitters are going to keep on ripping the ball? Is Atlanta going to continue the mashing as they take on the Nationals? Let's take a look at some things to watch for today. Dylan Bundy. Dylan is on the mound today. I love Dylan Bundy. I hope he can continue his renaissance of a year against the Rangers, who are one of the worst offenses in all of Major League Baseball. Other pitchers of curious notes. I'm looking forward to Sonny Gray going up against the Cubs lineup, which has been really bad. Chris Paddock against the Giants team has been pretty darn good, especially offensively. And it's the return of Madison Bumgarner after a long layoff against the dominant Dodgers. Jose Urquidy will make his second start of the season. He opened up with 3 2/3 on Saturday, and now he gets a chance to maybe go a little bit deeper. He had the COVID-19 layoff, so it's really affected his game. But this is a pitcher who could be productive last year and was a difference maker at times for fantasy managers. Though, will that be the case in 2020? That remains to be seen. And then there's Garrett Cole against the Orioles. Garrett Cole is 1-1 against the Orioles this season. In the last start against them, he gave up 5 runs. Only one of them was earned, though. But the Orioles have been a thorn in the side of a lot of teams. And if you look at the pitch selections and execution on this chart, you'll see that the four-seamer is not getting the same amount of whiffs that it was getting last year. Now, this is a smaller sample size, but it's something to keep note of because the breaking stuff is amazing. But the fastball is the key to his success going forward. And now it's time for This Day in Fantasy History for September 10. This Day in Fantasy History's got some old school badass pitchers. Pitchers I grew up with that were amazing, and I actually should have had more respect for because they were outstanding. We're talking Pedro Martinez, the big unit, dominance. Pedro had an amazing game on this date, September 10th, in 1999. So let's take a look at what Pedro did, what the big unit accomplished, and more for This Day in Fantasy History, September 10th. Diddle-loo, 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 diddle-loo. Ah, yes. Remember the good old days when the Sox and the Yanks were an actual rivalry? Man, Pedro Martinez was a huge part of that, and his fantasy stock was never as high as it was in 1999. He struck out 17 Bronx Bombers on this date, September 10th. Look at him go. That curveball just sitting pretty, and he was one of the best pitchers there ever was. He didn't dominate forever, but the period that he did dominate in the late 90s, early 2000s, unforgettable. On this date in 2013, not too long ago, Mark Trumbo, remember him? He was known as mainly a power hitter. He had 3 doubles and a home run, and he tied a franchise record with 4 extra base hits and became the first player in Angels history to collect 5 hits and score 5 runs in the same game. This was a full fantasy day for Mr. Trumbo, who was mainly a power guy with home runs and RBI, and that was pretty much it. And finally on this date, September 10th, 2000, Randy Johnson got 3,000. That's right. The big unit got his 3,000th strikeout. Now, this is not necessarily a fantasy moment, but it's a big historical moment in baseball history. And Randy Johnson, in the year 2000, at 37 years old, it was his birthday. This is his birthday, by the way. He did it on his B-Day. He was still a relevant fantasy master, and in 2001 would help the D-backs win the World Series because he was that damn good.